Hey, hockey fans, and welcome back to another edition of Puck My Life. Tonight, I am joined with Cody. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing just well. I'm actually really excited. Cody actually shared some information with me that kind of opens up some opportunities for a couple of us going over to Canada. Looks like they're lifting some of the restrictions, possibly. You read it. It was you said you got it from Reddit or something like that. You want to explain kind of what the article was?
Yeah, it was the article was more so in regards to Tyler Bertuzzi and talking about how the country of Canada is loosening some of their COVID restrictions that will, because Tyler Bertuzzi was not vaccinated, he was having to sit out select games in Canada when the Red Wings went on the road, and so it's looking like they're loosening their restrictions, and so he will not have to sit out. So hopefully that's opening things up on the border for everyone besides just professional hockey players.
Yeah, because I know both sides. I've seen it where some of the tourist industry and stuff like that kind of got hit. So hopefully this will kind of get things a little closer to the old normal that we used to have. So, but tonight we are going over our Oil Kings game experience that took place on September 22nd of 2019. We actually almost did this a few years to the day. If we recorded this last week, we would have been right on the money. But we're back at it again tonight. So the Edmonton Oil Kings, they're part of the WHL. And if you're not familiar with the WHL is, it's the Western Hockey League. And here's just a map to kind of show you some of the other teams throughout the league. They're mostly in Canada, but there are a few teams in the States. And it's definitely a really cool league. This league is part of the CHL, which is also accompanied by the OHL and the QMJHL. So definitely a good league to check out. The sad part for us is that it's so far away, and you're looking at the map. I mean, if we were to drive out there, which we're not going to, 29 hours, 1,826 miles to get to Rogers Center. And we were actually fortunate to do this game experience because Cody, you want to kind of explain what you were doing out west that kind of enabled us to go on this hockey road trip?
Yeah, so at the time I was living in northwestern Montana, working in Glacier National Park. So the season there ends in mid-September. So after the season ended, I was about 20 minutes south of the border where I was at. So I hopped in the car, drove north, and Edmonton was about a 6-hour drive north of me. Obviously, a lot quicker than the nearly 30 hours looking from back in
Yep.
Michigan. So took advantage of the opportunity being out west and went up and spent some time in Canada. This was the first game of the road trip.
Yep. And then the other two games we went to was the Oilers, and then we finished up the road trip down in Calgary. I ended up leaving right after the game was over in Calgary. Cody basically just dropped me off at the airport. He went back to the Airbnb, and then he started to make his way back to Michigan. As we said before, they play at Rogers Place, which is also the same place that the Oilers play at. And it's a really nice arena. It's a newer arena. It's definitely modern. It's got a cool look to it on the outside of the building. It's a really neat piece of architecture. Inside, I mean, nothing really fancy in here for the most part. It's just really well laid out, lots of good viewing angles. This shot that we're showing you here, it was actually just a few rows up from where we actually sat for the game. And I got a little video here I'm going to show you guys that kind of shows you where we were actually sitting exactly and a little bit of warm-ups. So yeah, so we had really good seats for this game. We were on the same side as we sat for the next game that we went to with the Oilers versus Calgary. We actually sat down here on the boards. That was For me, that was the first time I sat up on the glass. Was that the first time for you, Cody?
I've done it at some OHL games, and it's like a different viewing experience than sitting higher up, definitely.
It definitely is, and like you think that I kind of liked it, but then I didn't really like it because some of the viewing angles, like when we were trying to look down the other side, some of that was a little bit difficult, but still really cool. I don't necessarily think they're worth the price that a lot of people pay for. I think it's just like people get hyped. Like, oh, I was sitting on the glass, man. But to me, I really don't think it's worth it. All right, so the first thing we'd like to talk about in these game experiences is parking. So with Rogers Place, it is in downtown Edmonton, and there's plenty of parking around. We actually parked behind the building in a lot that was kind of under construction and kind of getting repaved in certain parts. So like the back part of this behind the building was kind of like there was still a lot of construction going around. I'm not sure exactly what it looks like today. That was a couple years ago, but there are plenty of lots scattered throughout. There's a university that's not too far down the street that has some parking. And then we also saw some other parking garages. Thing is, it was a little expensive. It is downtown Edmonton. We actually paid around $20 Canadian for where we parked, but some of the other spots we did see 30, even upwards of $50 for parking. Obviously, the closer you are to the building, the more expensive it is, and the further you have to walk, the cheaper it is. All right, next up is the tickets. So instead of actually going back and looking over what we paid when we were there, I figured the best thing to do now is just to go and see what you would actually pay if you were going to one of the games today. And so this, take into consideration, this is actually in Canadian prices. So $28.75, which, if my math is right, Cody, wouldn't that put us like around $22 or so, our price, like US
Yeah,
price roughly,
just
within a
about.
few dollars.
Sounds
And
on point.
yeah. And so another thing too, if you're looking at the map, they also, for this, since they're playing in such a big arena, they don't actually allow anybody to sit in the upper bowl. They don't even allow you to really sit much on the other end. They only allow everybody to pretty much cover the back end there where Edmonton scores on twice. So it was kind of interesting in that regard, but I do understand, because since these guys are playing in a NHL arena, there is far more seating than any of the other like regular WHL teams home ice that you would actually go to. I mean, there's so many seats in there, but for the price, it was not bad. We actually like stumbled across this. Like, what we were looking for something else when we were just trying to. We had like an extra day
I think so.
with
Yeah,
our schedule, so we're like, what can we do? And somehow we didn't even think of this sooner. We actually bought these tickets while we were in Canada. This wasn't actually something that we had on our radar to do. This was just something that we threw in along the way. So we're definitely glad that we
I
did.
think we were this close to going to a CFL game, actually.
Something, yeah, that, and then there was that wrestling thing too that we could have done. So there was
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of stuff going on, which was really cool, because like Edmonton is like really, it kind of felt like it was pretty isolated, because like once you got out of town, there was like nothing. Then it was like what, a 3-hour drive south to Calgary or something like that. There's
something
like
like that. Yeah,
hardly anything in between. So it was nice to see that there was a lot of stuff happening around Edmonton, and there's a ton of stuff to do. There's the West Edmonton Mall that we went to for a while,
oh
and that
my
was
goodness. Yeah,
humongous. It had water park in there, it had roller coasters, a
pirate
huge
ship.
pirate ship, ice rink. There was 3 lid stores in this mall. That's how big it was. There was 3 lid stores, and it's like, so if you ever just go to Edmonton and hang out, there's definitely stuff for you to do for sure. All right, merch. So this is their team store. They basically mixed their merch in with the Oilers, and they left the Oilers gear out while we were there. And then they just had a few spots, like few of these little racks and stuff like that, had the Oil Kings gear. The only thing that I grabbed as far as apparel was this Oil Kings t-shirt, and then ended up picking up the puck. Now, Cody, did you end up getting this?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we did get the same one. And then so it was $7.99 Canadian, so which was not a bad price at all. So around $5 or so for us. Really good price. I mean, I can't remember. Is this the only one that they had? I know this was a couple years ago. I wasn't sure if they had
Uh,
one with this logo on it,
I
the
think they
alternate.
did.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have got that one too, but I'm still really happy that we got these. And this was I've talked about this in previous videos, and this is definitely one of the jerseys that I wish I would have picked up. Cody was going nuts on this trip buying jerseys. He bought the jersey he's wearing. You bought how many did you buy on this trip? It was at least two, right?
Yeah, I think so. Two or three.
Yeah, because
Three.
you got the McDavid, you got the Gaudreau, and what was
I got a randomly, I think at the West Edmonton Mall, there was I got a discounted Adidas Canucks team blank.
oh yep. Okay, yeah. I figured there was another
It's
one
like
in there.
30
So
bucks Canadian. It was a no-brainer.
yeah, they were all sold out of my size. I was pretty jealous that he got one. But as far as their merch, they didn't have a huge selection. Their stuff was good quality, and it was mixed in with the other team stuff. So I mean, it's kind of cool. But this is really all they had. It's just in like a corner. But yeah, this is pretty much it. All right, next up is concessions. So, as far as concessions go, they had a lot of the same stuff that we talked about before. They had the poutine place, they had pizza, obviously Tim Hortons. I think there's multiple Tim Hortons in there. And one thing I really did like about so just by where like the seating was, you can see it's all open right there. There was a lot of little bars like all around the arena. And then when you walk into the building, it just opens up into this huge concourse. And there's like stairs and all this stuff. It's like it's a really neat building. So even if you're just in town and you can't make it to a game and they allow you to do tours or whatever, I would definitely go and check this out. It's really cool. I mean, you can even see up there, Cody. There's people up on that little balcony thing,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure how you got up there, but like, I mean, this was just a really cool building all around. There was plenty of good spots to eat. It did seem like it was a little more on the pricey side, but overall, not too bad.
And to think
And then,
NHL players lived there for 3 months since they did the bubble there.
oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. And here's another view, and just one of the other bars that they had throughout the arena. All right, atmosphere. So for this game, there wasn't really like a ton of fans at it, but it actually, I bet there was more than what we thought because it was a smaller team playing in such a big arena. Now, if these guys were to play like in Flint at that arena, like I would think that that would not quite pack it, but it was pretty close to the amount of people. This is just before pucks drop. You can see this is just before just after warm ups, and so I mean it was really cool in there, and they were playing the Red Deer Rebels. A lot of the fans they were really into it. Actually, one thing happened at this game was the first time this has happened for me and Cody. But we were sitting in our seats, and this lady came up. I'm not sure if she tapped on your shoulder or tapped on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And
Whoever's on the end.
yeah, whichever one is on the end. She's like, "Hey, do you guys want to be part of this competition?" And we're like, what is it? Well, we're doing this giveaway thing. You have to come up here and sit in this row so we can fill out the row. And we're like, looked at each other like, yeah, I'm down, you down. And like, yep. So we get up, we go up and sit in the row. And then a little bit later, they come down, they have these huge boxes or huge stacks of pizza boxes. And so they get on the Jumbotron and they're saying, yep, so what we're going to do is it's this row versus this row. And what you need to do is you need to take the stack of pizza boxes. So you grab the top and the bottom, and I would hand it to Cody. Then Cody would hand it to the next person. We'd have to hand it all the way down our row and all the way back. And whichever row did that the fastest won. Like it was like, was it medium-sized pizzas that we won from
Yeah,
Pizza Pizza?
they were big.
Yeah, and we were actually talking about this, that we were like, hey, we should probably go get something to eat. And this lady comes down and says something to us, and then we open ours up. I get like a plain cheese. Cody gets the one with like
Had like
extra
meat
meat and
lovers.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just I was kind of jealous, but
Pizza
it was
43. It was pretty good.
yeah, Pizza 43, that's what it was. It wasn't Pizza. Yeah, or Pizza 73. You can see it there on the other side of the ice.
73. Oh
Yeah.
man, I got the number wrong.
You're close enough. You're off by 30. But yeah, that was the first time I think knowingly we had been on the Jumbotron, and it was the first time that we had participated in some sort of like competition at a game. It's not our last one that we've done. So stick around. There's an experience coming up in the next couple weeks that we're going to be talking about the last one that we did. And we have a video to show on that one too. That one, we actually did that one in an intermission. Cody and I are competing against each other in a competition on ice. So if you want to see that one, stick around. It's going to be an upcoming video. All right. So this is what I ended up giving them for their puck score. This one I do have to say was difficult to do because of the fact that you have a WHL team, but they're playing in an NHL facility. So it's like, do I dock them for that? Or like, it's just really difficult because it's like, you go to like Flint or something like that. They do really well with what they have, but it's like here, it just like, it felt like it was almost too easy for them because it's like, oh, we're in an NHL arena. We have all this stuff. So it's like, it was really difficult. But anyway, with all that out of the way, this is what I ended up giving. I gave them an 8 for parking, 10 for tickets, 8 for merch, 8 for concessions, and an 8 for atmosphere. So, Cody, what do you think of the 42 that I gave them?
I think that's pretty accurate. It's definitely difficult to weigh how playing in an NHL stadium affects them because they're not going to fill it. I mean, that's a huge stadium for a WHL team to fill. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is one of the premier facilities in the NHL, so that's worth something.
Yeah, and I just remember this: the Oil Kings actually won the WHL championship last year. So
I think
shout
so,
out to
yeah.
them. They represented the WHL in the Memorial Cup, which they ended up losing, and it was St. John's that
Hmm.
won that. Which it was kind of weird. It's like the hosting team
Yeah.
ended up winning, so they didn't even win any of the championships, and they go in and beat all these champions. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then as far as a wow / X factor, there was really nothing that I thought like like I said, I'm trying to separate them being a WHL team, being an NHL facility, and I just thought like there was nothing really that like set them apart. Like there was nothing, even though they had that facility, I think that they kind of fell short in doing something cool for their team,
Hmm.
and they just didn't do it. Like,
Yeah, you can definitely tell they're guests in somebody else's house, so to speak.
yeah, and I don't know if they played at another arena or they're waiting for their own arena or whatever, but I mean, I those kids probably love going there and playing in that arena and sharing locker rooms with the NHL. Like all the NHL guys, they use this locker room, and Connor McDavid, he's around here, whatever. So it's like I bet you it's a big thing for them, and it hypes them
Oh,
up to
I'm
go and
sure.
play in Edmonton. All right, so mark your calendar, guys. This has been crazy. So we've been trying to figure out this whole scheduling thing as far as what we're going to do as far as games go. We actually have 2 confirmed games now that we're going to. So next week, September 28th, it's a Wednesday. Mark and myself, Cody, and I think one of Mark's buddies, we're all going down to watch the Red Wings play, and they're playing against the Blackhawks. It's a preseason game, but we got really, really cheap tickets. And then October 13th, we're going to go see the Motor City Rockers play their first ever home game at Big Boy Arena down, I think they're near Fraser, Michigan. So those are the only 2 that we have confirmed, but the other 2 you're seeing over here, we have Michigan and we have the Flint Firebirds. So there's a possibility we could be in Flint on the 1st, we could be in Michigan on the 1st, we could be, Flint on the 19th, or Michigan actually possibly the 16th. So we're not 100% sure. And then with this whole border thing and all that might throw into some other games. You might see us possibly go to Windsor, London, Mississauga, something like that. We'd really love to do that. I know, Cody, you would love to run out there for a little bit before you move out west. And I think that would be sweet if we got to do that. So stay tuned. The quickest way you're going to find out where you can see us is head on over to the @PuckMyLife Instagram. We'll be posting when we confirm games on there, where we're going, where you can meet up with us. And so that's the best way to connect with us. It's quickest way to connect to us. And then this year we're actually adding a new banner down in our highlights tab. You will start to see the FPHL, which is the Federal Prospect League. So I'm not sure if we are going to be adding the NCAA banner down there. So you'll see that. And then possibly the MIHL banner, which is the Michigan Independence Hockey League. There's a few teams in Michigan that we're planning on going to see. So just stay tuned with it. It's going to be a wild and wacky ride. We're looking at planning out some road trips and some other. It's just going to be madness. So just stick around with us and just see where we're going to end up this season. So that wraps it up for tonight's game experience for the Edmonton Oil Kings. So Cody, just like what are your final thoughts on this whole experience? Are you pretty glad that we just stumbled across it and like, hey, yeah, we should probably go check these guys out?
Oh, definitely. Especially, it was being in a NHL. It was nice to be able to spend some time, in the NHL building with not as many, not as big of a crowd in the concourse to check stuff
Yeah.
out. And I mean, it was a great game. It was a fun time seeing, we're so used to seeing OHL teams, so it's kind of cool to see the western side of the CHL.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed. This was actually still pretty early on in the whole Puck My Life journey thing. I hadn't started the Instagram yet or anything. This was like, I think, was this our second or third like big trip that we had gone on? I want to say it was our third.
Yeah, I would say our third.
Yeah, so we still have a few more teams left that we have to cover. There's still 7 more game experiences that we have to cover just to get caught up. And then, like I said, this season we're going to be throwing in a lot more teams, so we're probably going to get a little bit behind. But next week we're looking at knocking out a few. We're looking at possibly doing Calgary next Friday, and then sometime during the week I'm going to be dropping either the Sarnia Sting or Tampa Bay. It's looking more like you're going to get the Tampa Bay game experience. You might hold off Sarnia now that things are opening up, and Cody might go, Mark might go, and I want to get some more pictures and information before we actually drop that one. So stay tuned with us. We appreciate all you guys for stopping by and checking out our experience that we had with the Edmonton Oil Kings. So anything else, Cody, before we let everybody go for the night?
I'm excited to go to this game on Wednesday, and especially, see some live hockey. I'm being a Red Wings fan. I'm excited to see some of the young kids play. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, I was thinking about this with you moving out west and us looking at the schedule with your work schedule. This actually might be one of the only, if maybe the only opportunity you might have to see them at home this entire season.
It really could be. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's a preseason game and we don't get to see possibly get to see some of our favorite players, but there's just something about going down to Little Caesars. I think last year you and I went there, like 7 or 8 times.
It was quite a bit.
It was quite a bit last year. So I'm not sure if we're going to be going that much this year, especially with all the other teams that we're trying to see. It's probably going to be limited to just a couple. I think, honestly, the only other game that I plan on going down there is when Calgary's in town. That's after that. I know Mark wants to go down and see the Wild when they come to town, but after that, I really don't have much of an extra desire to go down there this season and check them out because there's so many other teams that I want to go see. It's over here on the board. So, well, anyway, so that wraps up things for tonight. Appreciate everybody who stopped by. Just remember that we do this. It's just all for the love of hockey. You guys have a great night. We will see you in the next one with the Tampa Bay Lightning game experience. You have a great night, and we'll see you next week. See ya.